I was planning to debut cute Jennifer in the entertainment world and earn the title of celebrity mom. But now that plan is ruined. Everything's over. I was taken aback when I learned of Emily's feelings towards Jennifer. It became clear that she had no affection for Jennifer at all. Emily continued without showing any remorse. She's no longer my child. Do whatever you want with her? Emily and Gada had been deeply affected by their fugitive lifestyle and looked completely changed. It seemed they couldn't lead a human-like life anymore. Just then, Jennifer appeared. She asked with a puzzled look, "Who are these people?" "Jennifer, don't you recognize me?" "It's me, your mother." Her voice was sugary sweet, so much so that it made my skin crawl. As Emily tried to touch Jennifer, she stood up and reached out, but Jennifer backed away, hiding behind me. Emily looked both surprised and puzzled. "Who are they?" "Such filthy-looking people." "I don't know them. I am Lisa and I am currently 35 years old. It's been 7 years since I got married, and we don't have children. I live happily with my husband, Michael. My encounter with Michael dates back to our college days. We met in a university seminar, dated for 6 years, and got married. We had some arguments and distant periods back then, but ultimately, I couldn't imagine choosing anyone other than Michael, so we got married. Michael's laid-back and gentle nature seems to fit perfectly into our married life. We've had many happy days without any major arguments. We've decided to let nature take its course regarding having children, and Michael and I understand each other well on this. However, both sets of our parents wished to see their grandchildren, so we definitely feel the pressure daily. Especially since my elder sister, Emily, openly criticizes and mocks me for not having children. This is our only trouble. Emily has a daughter, Jennifer, who is about to turn 5. Jennifer is cute and reputed to be smart. She apparently goes to a kindergarten with native English speakers. I don't completely trust what Emily says. However, Jennifer is indeed cute, and she often gets scouted by talent agencies when they're in places like Shibuya or Harajuku. In fact, Emily has flaunted several business cards from these talent agencies. Emily is overly concerned about other people's opinions. She brags about her daughter being scouted by talent agencies. In other words, it's not that she loves Jennifer, but she's proud to have a cute daughter. I perceive that, to Emily, her cute daughter is just one of her accessories, a tool to make herself look good. And sometimes, Jennifer is left in my care, and I look after her. Emily loves going out or traveling, and every time she leaves home with Gada, she drops Jennifer off at my place. Gada works at a high-income finance company, and Emily often brags about it. They rarely ask if it's convenient for us when they leave Jennifer. Michael and I have calm personalities and tend not to complain, so I think that's what emboldens Emily's attitude. Jennifer is somewhat frail. Several times when she was in my care, she's gotten a fever, and I've had to take her to the emergency room. During such times, Michael would reassure me by saying, "I also used to get fevers frequently as a kid. But look at me now, I'm very healthy. So, don't worry about Jennifer." I didn't take it too seriously and always prepared nutritious meals for Jennifer when she was with us. Since I have a nutritionist qualification, it's an opportunity for me to utilize it. I'm counting on you again today. It must be easy for you since you don't have children. It's fun having such a cute daughter around, right? Suddenly she would show up, say something like that, and quickly leave. For dinner, I prepared things Jennifer liked, such as corn soup, potato salad, and hamburger steak. Jennifer was pleased and said, "Yay! I love the hamburger steak that Mommy makes." Lucky me. Emily has taught Jennifer to call her Mommy. According to her, at the daycare, children from wealthy families all call their parents Mom and Dad, so she seems to be following that trend. For this reason, Jennifer, who is occasionally left in our care, started calling me Mom and Michael Dad. That night, Jennifer complained of stomach pain. At first, I thought she might have eaten something rotten, but it didn't seem like regular stomach pain, so I woke up Michael. All she kept saying was, "My stomach hurts." Feeling that something was amiss, he quickly arranged for an ambulance. At the hospital, we were told by a doctor that there was important news. Feeling it wasn't something just for us to hear, we informed Emily about the situation and asked her to rush to the hospital. Emily hesitated to come, but she finally arrived the next day in the afternoon. However, by that time, a person named Gata said he couldn't come due to work, so only Emily arrived. We decided to wait for Emily and hear Mr. Smith's explanation together. I felt bad for Emily being alone and, wanting to support her, decided to accompany her. Mr. Smith's explanation was far more severe than I expected. Jennifer has been diagnosed with childhood cancer, leukemia. It's the most common type of childhood cancer. She was rendered speechless and froze upon hearing these shocking words. Childhood cancer. Jennifer. But there's a chance of cure, right? There are various treatments available like radiation therapy and chemotherapy. Moreover, children's bodies often respond effectively to chemotherapy. However, chemotherapy has strong side effects. It'll be a challenging journey for not only Jennifer, but also for the family until we find the best drug. She was so surprised that she kept muttering the same thing over and over. She's no longer my daughter. She's no longer my daughter. On Emily's behalf, I discussed with Mr. Smith about proceeding with the treatment and the support needed for the family. A specialized approach was deemed necessary for Jennifer's treatment, and it was decided she would be admitted to a specialty hospital. However, due to the specialty hospital beds being full, she was to have a short stay at the current hospital before waiting at home. We needed to discuss this with Emily, but she was too distraught to talk at that time. Michael and I managed to send the distraught Emily home. On the day of admission, I went to the hospital thinking there might be something I could help with. Emily and Jennifer arrived by taxi. When Emily saw me, she looked relieved, and I responded with a smile. "You came at just the right time. I have an urgent matter to attend to, so I'm leaving Jennifer in your care." I was taken aback by Emily's unexpected words and couldn't find the words to reply. As I stood there stunned, Emily handed me a sealed envelope and quickly got back into the taxi she arrived in, leaving the scene. She clutched the hem of my jacket, looking anxious. "It's okay. I'll always be by your side. Let's go." I firmly held Jennifer's hand and entered the hospital. It became clear that I couldn't rely on Emily anymore. I was resolved to protect my dear niece at this moment. I wanted to ensure Jennifer didn't worry unnecessarily. "Mom, you look scary. What happened? Are you mad?" "No, not at all. I enjoy being with you. It's okay." Vowing not to worry Jennifer, I returned her smile. I acted as Jennifer's guardian for the admission procedures and heard detailed explanations about her condition from Mr. Smith. With Jennifer's admission, my life changed significantly, but I took care to ensure she didn't feel worried or anxious. From then on, Jennifer couldn't go to her favorite school, and her life in the hospital and painful treatments began. She suffered from the side effects of chemotherapy, feeling nauseated and losing weight, and her hair began to fall out, making a hat indispensable. Since Emily didn't visit, I used my paid leave to support Jennifer. On days when Jennifer felt particularly bad, I stayed overnight in the hospital to accompany her. In this new life, Michael and my mother often visited Jennifer's hospital room, worried and wanting to be a moral support. Whenever someone visited, she welcomed them with a smile. "How are you feeling today?" "I'm not feeling sick right now. And I'm not in pain anywhere." "Don't worry. I'm fine." Hearing such brave words, it was a struggle for me to hold back tears. The nurses in the ward also adored Jennifer and took good care of her. "That stuffed animal is nice. Did your grandma choose it for you?" During her painful and confined hospital life, Jennifer found small joys to help her get through. Seeing her act so lively made me think I also had to do my best every day. But managing work, household chores, and nursing were not easy. After using up my paid leave, I decided to resign. On my last day at the office, my boss told me, "If you ever want to come back, I'll make sure there's a place for you." That day, I couldn't help but shed tears at the office. With everyone being so kind and understanding, I wondered what Emily was doing and where she was. The kinder people were to me, the angrier I became at Emily, and those feelings only intensified. From then on, I entrusted most of the household chores to Michael and dedicated myself to caring for Jennifer. I am genuinely grateful that Michael was willing to take on these tasks with joy. To support Jennifer, Michael requested a transfer to a department with no overtime. As usual, while I was tidying up the laundry in Jennifer's hospital room, she asked me a question. "Hey, Mom. Are Dad and you too busy with work?" When I asked why, Jennifer continued. "Lately, neither Dad nor you have been visiting me." I was at a loss for words, but Jennifer went on. "Is it because Dad and you are so busy with work, or did you start disliking me because I got sick?" "That's not true. Both Dad and Mom would never dislike you, not even for a moment. They're always worried about you. It's just that they're sometimes too busy to visit. They're truly sorry about that." Jennifer softly said, "I see," and covered her head with a blanket, lying down. Her words tightened my chest. Not being able to see her mother must be very distressing for Jennifer. Surely, there are things that only a biological mother can do. While I was thinking about this, Jennifer peeked out from the blanket, looked at me, and smiled. Although indirectly, the same blood flows in both Jennifer and me. There must still be something I can do. Jennifer then reached out from under the blanket and handed me something. When I opened her tiny palm, there was a key that looked like a house key. "There's something I want you to bring from home. Since Dad and Mom don't visit me much." Through those words, I realized Jennifer trusted me, and I resolved to meet her expectations. For Jennifer's health and peace of mind, I vowed to make even more of an effort. One day, while shopping for daily necessities for Jennifer, I received a call from the hospital. As usual, since Emily wasn't around, they contacted me. Jennifer's condition had suddenly deteriorated, so I immediately headed to the hospital. Mr. Smith probably felt that Emily wasn't reliable. He started explaining the situation to me without any hesitation. "Mr. Smith, what happened to Jennifer? I believe the side effects of the chemotherapy have manifested strongly. We're considering changing the treatment, but sometimes these symptoms are inevitable." I returned to the room and gently stroked the head of Jennifer, who was quietly sleeping. Jennifer, it must have been hard. Unable to stop my tears, I uttered those words while stroking her head. Even though Jennifer is still so young, she has suffered so much and even lost her hair. If possible, I genuinely wished I could take her place. I tried to inform Emily about Jennifer's condition, but I couldn't reach her. Later, I also couldn't contact Gada, so I decided to head home. I used the key Jennifer gave me to enter the apartment and opened the door. No one was inside, and there was no sign of recent life. It looked like the place had been empty for a while. On the living room table, travel brochures were scattered around. Could it be? While searching the apartment carefully, I noticed Emily's prized brand suitcase was missing. Then, I saw an envelope from the welfare office stuck behind a brochure. Although I wasn't certain, it seemed likely that Emily had used the family allowance to travel abroad. I was stunned by her selfishness. In a fit of anger, my vision went completely dark and I felt dizzy. I knew that the nurse wasn't cooperating, but using the child's money and going on an overseas trip without even the child was unforgivable. So, I called Gada's workplace. I found out that Gada had also taken paid leave, and I wondered just how horrible both of them could be as human beings. After some time, it seemed that Emily had returned to the country. I went to the apartment again and spoke with Emily. Why would you go on an overseas trip at a time like this? What's wrong with it? Oh, by the way, here's a souvenir. She handed me a box of chocolates as if nothing had happened. I don't want it. Aren't you concerned about Jennifer? She looked at me mockingly and laughed as she replied, What? It doesn't matter. She got that disease. It's actually me who's inconvenienced. I was stunned by Emily's words. I was planning to debut the cute Jennifer in the entertainment world and become known as the celebrity's mom. But now all of that is ruined. It's all over. Realizing Emily's lack of affection for Jennifer left me in shock. I understood that she had no love for her. Emily continued without remorse. She's not my child anymore. You can do whatever you want with her. Are you stupid? Aren't you her mother? Do you know how much Jennifer wanted to see you? She'd have nightmares at night and would cry out for her mother over and over again. She showed an irritated expression. You're annoying. I hate such clinginess. It's a burden and troublesome. I realized there was no getting through to Emily. Perhaps Emily lacks the affection of a parent or even a human being. I left her apartment feeling defeated. A few days later, Jennifer's condition worsened significantly. I was informed by Mr. Smith that her heart rate had dropped and her oxygen saturation had also decreased, and I had to be prepared for the worst-case scenario. My mother and Michael rushed to her room, but we couldn't get in touch with Emily. Calls to Emily were out of service and messages went unanswered. It was the same with Gada. Had they gone on another trip? A feeling of unease crossed my mind. Considering the time since their last trip, it seemed too soon. I asked Michael to stay at the hospital and I decided to head to Emily's apartment. Using the spare key, I entered the apartment. While the furniture was still there, all the clothes and daily necessities were gone. I was in shock, and as I gazed around the room, I received a message from Emily on my smartphone. The message read, Jennifer, who has cancer, is no longer my cute daughter. So she's not my child either. That's why I have no obligation to raise her. You can take care of Jennifer however you want. I was shocked to realize that Emily and Gada had abandoned Jennifer. They ran away from the reality of Jennifer struggling with cancer. How could they do such a thing? Leaving their own daughter and running away from home was unimaginable. In the now empty apartment, I broke down in tears. I cried until I couldn't cry anymore. However, now wasn't the time to cry. Jennifer's life could end today. Wiping away my tears, I rushed back to the hospital. I was resolute about this unforgivable act. In the taxi on the way to the hospital, I firmly resolved never to forgive Emily. When I returned, Jennifer was receiving treatment in the ICU. The new chemotherapy drug seemed to have been incompatible with her body. Currently, chemotherapy has been discontinued. Michael and my mother had their eyes closed, praying for Jennifer's recovery. I was allowed into the ICU and firmly held Jennifer's hand. Jennifer seemed to be conscious, and with the little strength she had left, she squeezed my hand back. She opened her eyes and recognized me. In that moment, there was a strong determination in her eyes. I looked into Jennifer's eyes and felt assured that everything will be all right. I believed that Jennifer would surely recover. To everyone's astonishment, her heart rate began to rise slowly and her oxygen saturation also started to improve. Mr. Smith next to me sighed in relief. Wonderful. Jennifer is a child with a strong will to live. Everything is fine now. Jennifer overcame the brink of life and death. The next morning, I replied to Emily, "We, as a couple, will raise this child." Jennifer would never fall into Emily's hands again. I decided to raise Jennifer as my child with Michael. I told my mother that Emily and Gada had disappeared and asked her to let me know if they contacted her. Even after a year, Emily and Gada didn't show up. However, after some time, they surprisingly returned to their family home. Upon my arrival at the family home, a man and woman who looked like they had been living on the streets sat in the living room. The man was emaciated, and his clothes were tattered. The woman was equally worn out, her hair was messy, her skin was rough, and her face looked chapped. The woman saw me and murmured, "Lisa." I thought, who are these people? Do I know them from somewhere? But then I recognized the familiar eyes with tear marks. No way. Emily? I thought you were someone else. The woman gave a slight nod. Emily and Gada, under the influence of their fugitive life, had changed drastically. It seemed they couldn't lead a normal life. Right then, Jennifer peeked from behind me, asking with curiosity, "Who are these people? Oh, you don't recognize me? It's me, your mother." Her voice was unervingly sweet and cloying. As Emily tried to reach out to Jennifer, Jennifer backed away and hid behind me. Emily looked surprised and confused. "Who are you?" "I don't know these dirty-looking people." Perhaps wanting to leave the room, Jennifer quickly exited the living area. Being called a stranger by her own daughter must have shocked Emily. She remained frozen in place, still reaching out. Gada, meanwhile, looked down, discreetly shedding tears. Though I was taken aback by their appearance and return, I initiated a conversation. "Emily, why have you come here?" "I'm sorry, a lot has happened since then, and I've reflected. I realized that Jennifer is my daughter, my only precious child, and that's why I returned." I sensed dishonesty in her reaction to my anticipated question. Her eyes seemed unfocused. Michael looked at Emily with suspicion. I asked my mother where she had found Emily. "Mom, where did you find Emily?" According to my mother, when she returned from shopping, Emily was rifling through the family altar drawer. Hearing this, I understood the real situation. Emily wasn't here to apologize. I remembered recent reports about suspicious people lurking in the neighborhood. This happened when Jennifer's health was improving. Jennifer made a miraculous recovery with a new treatment. As she began spending more time at home, suspicious individuals were seen around the house. Witnesses described them as a dirty-looking man and woman. Concerned for Jennifer's safety, I gave her a safety alarm. Despite this, I consulted the local police station, and they increased patrols. If the situation didn't improve, I was prepared to report it. Eventually, the suspects vanished. Considering everything, I suspected the individuals might have been Emily and Gada. But the descriptions differed greatly from what I knew of them. In hindsight, they were probably the culprits. They must have been after my father's inheritance. My father left his inheritance to Jennifer. Knowing Emily's greed, he bequeathed it to Jennifer, not Emily. My mother managed the bank book and seal containing the inheritance. We used some of the inheritance for Jennifer's advanced medical treatments and other expenses, but most of it was invested, and a significant amount should remain. Emily was probably lurking to claim that money for herself. Did you just come here to apologize? You seem suspicious, don't you? While being amazed by Emily's greediness, I asked her with a wry smile. Emily seemed to realize that her intentions were showing, and she averted her eyes, looking down. I'm not giving you the inheritance my father entrusted to Jennifer. I didn't come for that. I just came back because I'm worried about Jennifer as her mother. I don't care about Dad's inheritance. Although she denied it with words, her true feelings could be seen in her eyes. It's not that she's outright saying she wants the inheritance, but she can't hide her true feelings. Really, such a useless person, I sighed. The reason Emily returned home was to steal the bank book. The realization stabbed at my heart. The fact that things had reached this point meant they must truly be desperate for money. Why Emily and Gada ended up like this is certainly their own doing, but I had initiated an investigation into them. It was an event from a year ago. As soon as the two disappeared, I called Gada's workplace. And then, I learned something shocking. Gada had resigned. Even when I inquired at his previous company, they wouldn't say why. I didn't even know if he wanted to transfer to a new job. I thought he might have gotten caught up in some kind of trouble. I decided to seek help from a friend of Michael's who worked at an insurance company and had them introduce me to a detective agency. It was to determine the whereabouts of the two who disappeared. I, along with an investigator from the detective agency, went to Emily's apartment in search of clues. In the mailbox of the apartment, there was a shocking discovery. There were many reminders from financial institutions, letters blaming Gada, and postcards. It seemed Gada had done something terrible, inconveniencing others. I handed all these letters and documents over to the detective agency, and they said with this much evidence, they should find them quickly and start the investigation. After some time, a lot of documents arrived from the detective agency. With that, we got leads on their whereabouts. According to the report, Gada was misusing clients' funds for investments. He was taking their bank books and investing the money. He was doing this secretly from the company and apparently used his home as a hidden office. As a result, Gada's investments resulted in a huge loss, and once his misuse of funds came to light, he seemingly had no choice but to flee. During the detective agency's search for Gada, they found one of the victims and got in touch. I asked the agency to introduce a lawyer to that victim. This made Gada's actions subject to criminal charges. People like him, who commit such unethical acts, must be held accountable under the law. While I had mixed feelings about harboring such a cold attitude, I justified it as everything being for Jennifer. The company Gada worked for also took action and filed criminal charges against him. With this, Gada would face legal judgment, and Emily wouldn't be safe either. Emily, who once lived a life like a celebrity, now became the wife of a criminal. The police and the company began searching for Gada and Emily, and their life on the run began. I told the desperate and lost Emily and Gada about Jennifer's painful battle with her illness. It was after Jennifer overcame a life-threatening situation. The chemotherapy seemed to work well for Jennifer, and its side effects rapidly diminished. Jennifer was especially delighted that her mouth sores had disappeared, I told them. She began to enjoy her meals, her appetite returned, and her skin significantly improved. And I decided to relay a conversation I had with Jennifer. I told Jennifer about Emily and Gada's absence in a way that wouldn't hurt her. I told Jennifer that her mom and dad had to work far away and won't be back for a while. Emily and Gada just listened silently to my story. When I told her that, Jennifer wasn't as upset as I'd anticipated. I had expected her to be more anxious and worried. Worried for Jennifer, I asked her, "Are you okay even if your mom and dad aren't around? Are you all right?" Emily and Gada were keenly interested in their daughter's response, swallowing hard and listening intently to my story. They seemed concerned about how Jennifer felt. Then, I decided to be a little mischievous. "What do you think Jennifer said in that situation?" The two didn't answer and just stared at me. Jennifer quickly replied, "I'm okay. After all, I have Mommy here, and Daddy, and also Grandma," and she smiled. Emily and Gada looked downcast. When I heard those words, I felt Jennifer's strength. I thought she was truly amazing and much stronger than someone like me. Emily and Gada started shedding tears. From the moment that question was asked, Jennifer had likely decided she no longer needed Emily and Gada in her life. And then, Jennifer spoke with conviction. "I will eat lots of delicious food, fight hard, and recover from my illness. Yes, let's do that. I'll cook delicious meals for you too." I hugged Jennifer tightly, pouring all my love into the embrace. This child is strong and will never lose. That's what I firmly believed. After the conversation, Emily's emotions overwhelmed her, and she burst into tears. "I have nothing left. Nothing at all. No money, no luxurious life, nothing that others would envy. Please, I beg you, give me some money. What's wrong with you? How much do you think your selfish actions have affected everyone around you? You're out of your mind." Having tolerated her unreasonable behavior up to this point, I could no longer contain my anger. The one who suffers the most is Jennifer. She kept waiting for you, the irresponsible one, believing in you. But you betrayed your own daughter, your flesh and blood. Emily remained silent, unable to retort. Jennifer knew all along what kind of people you both were. She realized you didn't visit for her, but for money. She doesn't want to get hurt by trusting you again. With astonished faces, Emily and Gada raised their heads to look at us. "You might regret abandoning Jennifer now, but it's you who were abandoned. She's decided she doesn't need you anymore." With tears in their eyes, Emily and Gada began apologizing to Jennifer. I signaled to Michael with my eyes. After nodding slightly, he took out his phone. A short while later, the police arrived and took Emily and Gada away. Of course, we didn't let Jennifer witness this scene and asked her grandmother to take her out. Naturally, Gada was arrested. Furthermore, Emily's involvement became evident, and I heard she was being rigorously questioned by the police. Emily must have seen Jennifer's recovery on a friend's social media and wanted to reclaim the life of envy by using Jennifer as an accessory, and even the inheritance left by the father. It also came to light that Emily was plotting to get her hands on Jennifer's life insurance. Michael, calling it a talisman, had taken out a child cancer insurance policy when Jennifer was born, and Emily was trying to get hold of the lump sum from that too. I had strongly urged Michael to make Jennifer's grandmother the beneficiary. Thus, Emily couldn't claim the money, but she kept insisting it belonged to her daughter. As a result of the severe police interrogation, Gada, who had repeatedly evaded them, is likely to be sentenced. They filled me in on the details for backup. Even if Emily gets probation, her huge debts will surely make her life extremely difficult. Hence, we decided to formally adopt Jennifer. We're also considering adoption. Since it felt lonesome with just Michael and me, we asked my mother to live with us. Fortunately, she gladly agreed, and we renovated our home for a two-household life. When we told Jennifer, she was thrilled. Yay, I get to live with Grandma? I'm so happy. Jennifer will be discharged soon. Her treatment will continue with regular visits to the hospital, but she'll be able to attend school normally soon. I decided to ask her about Emily and Gada. Jennifer, can I ask something? Don't you feel lonely without your mom and dad? With a puzzled look, she replied, No, not at all. Because I have mommy and daddy, and grandma will live with us too. Why do you ask? I'm not lonely at all. I impulsively hugged Jennifer. It's us who will protect Jennifer for a lifetime. I decided to be a devoted mother and make Jennifer happy. It hurts, Mom. Without thinking, I hugged her too tightly. I gently embraced Jennifer again and envisioned our future. I tried to imagine our daily life in a few years. Mom, where's my gym uniform? I'm running out of time. That's why I told you yesterday to prepare it the day before. I look forward to such trivial daily exchanges from the bottom of my heart. Look, your gym uniform is by the entrance. Oh, thanks, Mom. You're the best. I love you. Well, I'm off now. All right, take care. Have a good day. With her small frame carrying a big pink backpack, Jennifer waves her hand as she heads to school. We can experience such happy daily moments. For now, I'll hug Jennifer, even if it hurts her a little. I hope she understands that I'm determined to raise her well, so I'd like her to bear with it for now.